Hey you guys, so I'm out on a walk with my dog. Jennifer. And New Orleans just had a pretty bad hurricane. We were spared. A lot of the city wasn't, or a lot of the state wasn't. But we had a lot of wind damage here. So wind damage means felled trees. And here's some examples of that. Hey, hey. And those are all over the city. So I've got a little bit of a penchant for picking up free stuff on the side of the road because I'm admittedly a cheapskate. So those branches don't hold a huge amount of value to me, but I think I'm gonna find some that might be helpful in my low-cost fencing project for my dog Jennifer. Here's hoping. So I've found something that I think might suit my fancy for this particular project. And walking around enough really does give you a lot of cool ideas. Unfortunately, having a dog gives me the opportunity to walk around a lot. So I'm gonna try and take the misfortune of this pile of bamboo and make it into something really beneficial for me. As you can see here. It's a pretty substantial pile of adult bamboo. It's like a substantial pile of adult bamboo in front of a residence in New Orleans. I love my dog more than anything. Right, Jennifer? This is the issue, is she's a hound. So containing her can be a bit of a problem. We always walk on a leash. And up until the last couple of days, we haven't had really a fenced yard. But I got a wild hair and I kind of jury-rigged something together that I'm feeling pretty okay about, but I feel like it could be improved on. Right, Jennifer? Right. My angel. What a good dog. Oh, there's the sniffer again. So, this is my apartment setup. I live, kind of in this smaller apartment behind another house. I call it a shed because it's kind of like that. But I had this baby gate in my bathroom to keep the dog out the litter box. So I decided I was going to repurpose it. It's a tension baby gate. And so I kind of cobbled it together with the extensions. And I created tension by just kind of wedging it in between the fence here and attaching it with zip ties. And then wedging it behind the gutter here. It's not perfect, but it's enough to keep her kind of focused on not escaping. Hey. So then if you walk back here, I know this kind of looks abandoned. The dog doesn't want to come with us. It's not the best rental property, but it works for me. I've been staying here for 5 years. The landlord's kind of off my back most of the time. And that's pretty nice. So I've got some plants, but If you come back here, there's like a whole ugly fence here, chain link fence. And same thing like on the other side. There's this ugly chain link fence all the way down the alley. And then this wooden fence in the back. But this area, because it's like a double, so there's another apartment on this side, but I don't use that side. Nobody's ever used that side since I've lived here. So there's like this in between here. And I had these old fence post things that, I don't know, just kind of were on the property. And so I had those in place, but I never let the dog off the leash because it was not secure enough. I'm gonna step over my worm farm here. So what I did was I took this chicken wire that my dad gave me a few years ago, and I attached that with some wire to the fence posts that kind of have stakes that go on the ground. And then what I did was I took zip ties and I attached it to the chain link fence post. So there's some of those on there. So there's some security. And then I kind of jury rigged this side here with this. I had some bamboo stakes for gardening, and I sort of like looped that around a little bit and then attached that to this side, which isn't really sturdy in place that much. But then I like nailed it in somewhere. Maybe I did, oh, at the bottom there. So it's like got this little nail in there, but I don't have like tacks to nail it into place right. So I'd feel better if I put up like another layer of fencing. What a good girl. Hey, so I got distracted reading as usual and snuggling with my dog, Jennifer. And I changed my clothes so that I don't look quite so crazy in like a nightshirt and a pair of 15-year-old cheerleading shorts. So now I'm gonna go attempt to get some of that bamboo that we saw earlier. So like one thing that I'd like to recognize is just, it looks like a mess, but how carefully the maintainer of this property has stacked this bamboo up so it doesn't fall into the street. They've got it like tied up and stacked really carefully. So actually it's sort of difficult to remove some of the bamboo. I don't want to mess anything up, not that I would be able to, but I just took the bamboo, you know, that was about between 4 and 8 feet that was readily available, because from the sounds of the chainsaw, it sounds like they're still cutting down. They must have quite a collection, but so I'm back at the house. I've got all my bamboo, my new bamboo from that spot. There was a lot of it there, and I only took what I thought I needed, maybe even a little bit extra, just because it's kind of a valuable resource, you know. I've never grown bamboo because I've never owned a property, and I feel like it's sort of irresponsible to plant bamboo in a rental property because it tends to take over. But I could see why people would want to grow it, both as a beautiful ornamental, but also for its function. I mean, you know, you saw what came from that standard size New Orleans lot, and there was more they were cutting down. So it's pretty impressive. And hopefully the rest of the community will kind of reach out and take what they can before it gets hauled away, whenever that is. So the next step in my project, which is admittedly like not really planned out very much, is is measuring the space. So I'm going to measure from where the fence is to the other fence. I've got my partner here to help me out. So I'll be the first to admit I'm not really like much of a planner when it comes to stuff like this. I kind of have a bad habit of sort of just feeling my way through it. I think it's genetic. But this is the solution that I kind of have, this is what I'm rolling with. So most of y'all probably know bamboo's hollow and segmented. So like where these lines are, the segment is, that's the solid portion of the bamboo. Oh, gross. And then the bamboo's hollow. So I'm trying to capitalize on that. And I think the way I'm gonna start this out is by using this tent stake. So I hammered this tent stake a few inches into the ground. New Orleans has really high water table, so it's not exactly difficult to get stuff hammered into the ground. It's keeping it there. And I've kind of just twisted the bamboo onto that. And then I'm gonna jury rig something to attach it to the pre-existing fence in a way that's safe for the people on the other side of the fence. And I'm gonna tie all these together along here and see how it goes. So this isn't a permanent solution or anything, but it's what I've got for right now. And I have these small brads that I've mostly nailed into like the reinforcement surface of the fence where there's like two boards next to each other. And I've tied this hemp twine around it here twice. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm hammering it upwards to try and like seal that off. And then I'll tie this around here a couple times. And I'll eventually get like a staple gun or something from my sister to secure it a little bit better. Maybe like reinforce it with some wire, but I'm careful because I know there's kids that stay at the house on the other side of the fence, and I just don't want anything that's gonna protrude through the back side of the fence and perhaps snag on them. So as you can see, we've got a little section put up. It's taking a while, but it's also like not the most secure just because I don't have anything to really stick it into the ground with. That's my poor planning, but I think it's gonna be okay. I'm kind of building up with some clay soil around the bottom, and then I'm gonna try and reinforce it with some of these bricks that I have here. So we'll see how it goes. I'm just kind of trudging forward, tying these stakes together, hammering them in the soil a little bit. Yeah, making myself a little bamboo barrier. And as you can see, I've still got some material to work with here. See, I've got quite a few more stakes to work with. And I think if I use all those, I could probably swing by and see if there aren't some more accessible. Hey y'all, I'm taking a break in the backyard amongst my bamboo. The project has gotten to the point where I'm a little annoyed by it. I should have thought better, I think, about how to like stake things into the ground because I'm having to build up quite a bit of mud around the base. I'll probably have to reinforce the bamboo with some lateral poles. Horizontal poles. Just for stability. It's really just like a decorative project. Kind of trying to cover up the chicken wire. I did kind of want to talk about like why I like to do silly stuff like this. I've constantly got some sort of plant outdoor. Bamboo is not very comfortable to rest on. Thing going on, like I'm constantly repotting plants. I really love picking stuff up off the side of the road and seeing what I can do with it. I've always liked like found object stuff and kind of trying to be creative with the things I already have so that I don't have to spend a lot of money on other things. There's nothing wrong with having hobbies that involve spending money. I mean, I certainly do those things too, but there's something to be said for trying to like adapt what you need with what you can find or what you already have. And so I just kind of take that as like a little bit of a challenge to try and like do something with less, if that makes sense. And being outside is also one of my favorite things to do too. So most of my life is spent outside, usually in the company of my beloved dog, Jennifer. Jennifer, what a good girl. What a good girl. Ooh. Ooh, who's my best friend? Such a good girl. Look at that tail. Hey y'all, a little while later, I've gotten to a stopping point. It's secured from the wooden fence to the chain link fence. It's not the sturdiest, but I think I'm going to be able to reinforce it with wire in the coming days to make it a little bit more sturdy, and then maybe borrow my sister's staple gun or something to be able to staple it to the fence. I haven't figured it out yet. Hopefully it won't blow down overnight, but in the meantime, I will show you this completed wacky looking project that I did with this found object bamboo from this morning. As you can see, it doesn't look great, but it's a small area. It's pretty well cemented into the ground, it seems, for now. I did kind of pile up some clay and some bricks on both sides. It's attached at the chain link fence and then attached, how I showed you guys, to this fence here, making sure that none of those nails stuck through the side. That's my finger. Yeah, and I'm gonna take my worm farm, which is also my storage area, which I'll talk to you about sometime, and sort of shove it in the corner, maybe to brace it a little bit and also keep the dog disinterested in this new evolution of the yard. But thank you for kicking it with me for the last little while. Let me know if you have any questions. Probably not, but I'll let you know how it holds up. Have a good night. Again, the project isn't perfect, but it'll do for right now. I didn't spend any money. This was totally free or with objects I already had in my house. And it serves its purpose as just like an additional barrier. And it sort of is fitting with my DIY ambiance.